So, for the purpose of this exercise, I've been diagnosed with terminal illness. Got 6 months to live. 3 of that, I'll have full use of my body. Final 3, I'll slowly lose my ability to walk, then talk, then move, ultimately leaving me bedridden in my final few weeks. So, I feel like it is important for me to preface all of this with the fact that I do, in reality, have a chronic illness, which, while I don't have a set timeline like this, will very likely kill me indirectly within the next decades through something like an arterial dissection, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's going to happen. So I've already had to have similar conversations with those closest to me at some point in the past several years. In fact, the 2 people who I interviewed for this, I've already had conversations like this with them. Uh, so are relatively numb to it. They're ready for it. They can accept it. So as far as my starting off with what are my plans to tell others about my illness, I would tell my partner first, then my friends, and eventually I probably would tell my family. I don't plan on telling acquaintances or classmates, anything like that. I would tell as many people as I can in person, and those that I can't. So for my friends that live in other states, for example, I would let them know through video call. Uh, so as noted in Dr. Hernandez's class on September 8th, I know that there is a hierarchy to the system of notification, and it likely does matter to the people who are being notified what order they get notified in. So for me, the order that I would tell them would be the order in which I care most about those people, and so therefore will be spending the most time with for my remaining 6 months, so as not to risk potentially poisoning that time with the people who will actually be spending with. For what I will do with my time, for the first 3 months, I'll just spend as much time as I can with my partner and close friends, just doing what I'm doing right now, just hanging out with them here in town as much as I can. I'd be dropping out of school just to have as much time as I can with them. So I know in his blog post, the tail end that we were assigned for class, Tim Urban lays out 3 takeaways that he has from the statistics of how much time we have left with our loved ones. And two of those big takeaways are that priorities and quality time are what matters. So I wouldn't want any of the little time that I have left to be spent worrying about the logistics of things like travel plans. Instead, I would just want that time to be spent with those loved ones. I would want that quality time spent with them, not worrying about how it's going to be spent. And something that actually one of my interviewees, who is a used to be a partner of mine, but is still I would call her my best friend, Lindsay. Uh, she was with me whenever my current diagnosis came about. Um, so she has a pretty good idea of what I need as well. She actually recommended during the interview that I make a list of things like games and movies that I would want um, to consume so that I don't spend too much time while I'm actually ill figuring out what I want to do instead of just doing it, which is something that even I had never really thought about was making lists of things like that because I'm typically pretty good about at least watching the things that I want to watch. So this would mostly be a list of games that I would want to play. Um, but then moving beyond that to the last 3 months, again, I'd spend most of it gaming and watching movies. The first part, before I'm completely bedridden, would be I would spend it gaming because I'm able to be in front of my computer. Um, but beyond that, I would just be in bed watching movies. It's something that I'm used to from dealing with flare ups of my illness or from dealing with time post op. I know what it's like to be bedridden. It's like to just spend that time watching movies, filling in with whatever I can. Uh, so for how I will execute my plans after the first 3 months, since I won't be able to walk, I would need to go to the hospital to get a catheter and colostomy bag set up because I would want to spend the time at home. So I would need those things in order to still be functional. I would also need a caretaker to give me a sponge bath or otherwise clean me once a week. And for the rest of the week, I would just wash myself with the shower wipes. That's again something that I know from having extended periods of time, either post-op or chronic illness, where I can't shower, I can't bathe. So I have found through my experience that these shower wipes are like they're lifesavers because feeling gross in this time, like feeling just physically gross on top of whatever illness you have, is just it's horrible for your mental. So staying clean is a huge positive. Um, and then so this part would fall under routine home care with someone coming to bathe me, which, as we discussed in class, would fall under the lowest or least intensive and most common level of hospice care, as we discussed on October 24th. And then the last few weeks would likely require continuous care with the caretaker being there for most of the day. So as for if I'm alone or with others, as I've already stated, I'll be with loved ones as much as I can be. And just because of my chronic illness, I've spent a lot of time either in hospitals or bedridden at home. So I know that being alone is, my experience, at least the hardest part of things like this. So I would avoid it if I can. For how I would fund my plans. So as noted in class on October 22nd, and as I'm all too familiar with, the US has the, and I quote from class, most expensive, least effective healthcare system in the world. Fortunately, I am insured, so at least some of my expenses would be taken care of. As fortunately as well, I also already own a lot of accommodation devices, so things like a grabber and an adjustable bed. I already have here at home that I can just use. And so, for the purposes of this exercise, since I have been diagnosed with such an aggressive terminal illness that it's going to be killing me within 6 months, uh, there are likely experimental treatment plans that I can sign up for. Which, even though, again, for the purposes of this exercise, I could not extend my life, and I wouldn't be trying to anyways if I got a diagnosis like this. But what I would be doing is signing up for these because they're typically paid opportunities. Uh, so, as someone who's already living with an LS, which will indirectly kill me, this is already eventually going to be part of my plan, part of my plan for death. So, Mary Roach discusses on page 195 of How to Know If You're Dead. This idea of donating body makes you one of the dead's heroes, and my body is already going to be donated in this way, donated to medical science. This diagnosis wouldn't change that, and it would, in fact, move up my timeline and make me start to donate my time while I'm alive. And so, also, a big kind of driving force here is going into our assigned media before I die, a day with terminal patients, where Dr. Sina Puri says, I feel grateful for the fact that I will be here forever. It forces me to make meaning of the time that I do have. And that is something that I've had to live by, I've had to get used to. And it's something that I know that I'll be able to take into this. I don't fear something like this. I didn't get any kind of sense of dread from this assignment because it's something that I've done before. So I've been down this road, and it's a comfortable enough one. So yeah, so I'm glad for that. I'm comfortable with it, and so I wouldn't be wasting a bunch of time freaking out, not knowing what to do.